Okay, so tonight we are making gnocchi. Not a very difficult dish to make. The gnocchi itself is store-bought. I don't know how to make it yet. I haven't tried, but I'm working on it. So what we're going to do is we are going to start off with some very simple ingredients. We're going to be frying up some bacon. And I'm going to be using 2 packs of diced bacon. I'm going to be throwing in with that some mushrooms and garlic, some chopped mushrooms, garlic, and a little bit of ginger that I'm going to grate into it. I'm also going to throw in some freshly chopped parsley into the pan. The gnocchi I'm probably going to leave for last because it only takes about 3 or 4 minutes. Once you put it in the pot of boiling water and it sort of rises to the surface, then basically it's finished. It's done. There's a few things that I'm going to be adding to it afterwards. One of those things is some basil pesto, which is store-bought, unfortunately, but can't do everything. Learn as we go. Alright, and then also what I'm going to add to that is some creamed spinach. So that I'm going to put in a bowl in the microwave and just let that cook down, because it's basically just frozen blocks of creamed spinach. It is absolutely delicious. The bacon isn't too salty, even though there's different cuts of bacon. It's not too salty, and it should have a little bit of smokiness if there's some streaky bacon in there. If you watch cooking shows, one of the things that you see a lot, if they're using fresh ginger, they will always use a spoon or a teaspoon in order to peel the ginger. One of the things that I find works very well is an ordinary common garden potato peeler. It works fantastically and it gets the skin off very, very quickly. And use a microplane just to grate it, but just take the skin off first. For those that know me, you know that I always keep a packet on the counter when I'm busy cooking, and that's simply so I can throw away stuff that I'm going to be discarding. So there's ginger peeled. Quick and easy. Just going to chuck the skin off into the packet so I can throw everything away together when I finish using it. Right, the pan is nice and warm, so I'm going to chuck the bacon in, and then and the ginger and the garlic and the mushrooms all in the same pan. Let them all fry in the bacon fat. If the pan does get a little bit dry, then I've got some butter that I'll throw in there. In goes the mushrooms and garlic. Okay. The mushrooms have been rough cut. It doesn't really matter. If you chop it up finely, it's just going to end up breaking up and going away to nothing. So rough cut mushrooms I feel tend to work the best. I'm going to quickly grate some ginger in, and then we are pretty good to go. So as soon as that's ready, I've already boiled water. I'm going to be throwing it into the pot for the gnocchi fairly shortly. And then when all of this starts coming together, then I'll chop up some parsley and then chuck it into the pan as well. Right, there doesn't seem to be as much fat on this bacon as I'd hoped. So what I'm going to do is just pop a couple of knobs of butter in there. The bacon should be a little bit salty. Yes, it is. So when it comes to seasoning, I'm just going to use pepper. I like to use unsalted butter because it allows me to control the amount of salt that goes in. Yeah. The bag of gnocchi comes in 500 grams, which is about a 250 ml portion, serving portion per person. Depending on the amount of ingredients that you're putting in, if you've got a lot of bacon, a lot of mushrooms, and then some of the cream spinach obviously increases the volume. You can serve 3 people from this. If you're adding a side dish, then you can squeeze it out to 4. Normally with these blocks of frozen cream spinach, what I like to do is normally take just a handful out of the bag. That's usually enough for 1 portion, so 2 handfuls for 2 people. One of the things that I like to do when I'm chopping fresh herbs, depending on what it is obviously, is if things like parsley and so on, and instead of just taking them out as individual leaves, I just bunch them up. It makes it easier for chopping. And then when you chop, just do a rough chop, just 1 pass. Doesn't have to be fine, and it'll go into the pan. The bacon at the moment is almost done. I'm just waiting for the water from the mushrooms to fry off, to cook off, and then that's pretty much good to go. Right, so the water from the mushrooms is pretty much cooked off. We've got a running boil on the water for the gnocchi, so I'm going to pop that into the water now, and then it should take about 3 or 4 minutes or so, and then it'll be done. Pots of basil pesto come in 130 ml jars, and what I like to do is use about half, which gives me 2 lots of gnocchi out of 1 jar, and it's just the right amount of taste and flavour. The cream spinach is now finished, and I'll be adding it all together and then serving. Okay. So 2 nice heaped teaspoons into the gnocchi. This bowl is very hot. It's just come out of the microwave, so Chef Mike has done his job. So I'm just stirring this up, and I'm going to be pouring this into the gnocchi as well. Alright, and then in goes the bacon. And as everybody knows, everything tastes better with bacon. Here we go. I'm just going to sprinkle some parsley over both of them. And it's then time to serve. My advice is have this with a nice acidic white wine. It'll help to break just a little bit of the flavour of the bacon, or the saltiness of the bacon. It'll help to counteract it quite a bit.